You are now tuned into the sounds of
Big Nate Sports Talk.
It's on all the time, anytime.
Friday night, laid back, feeling smooth. Looking for just a little something to get into. Tired of the same old scene.
Looking for something different, if you know what I mean.
So when I saw you, there was no in between. You came up to me like something from out of my dreams. A woman from the pages of a magazine. Deep inside my heart, you scream. I can't understand. Hey, just wanna hold you. Hey, baby, how you do the things I'm watching you do. While we're in this town, just wanna make some love. All I wanna do, my girl, is dance with you. Now we're in this club, your cheek pressed to my face, trying not to lose control, but I ain't got no time to waste, cause I came up in the club,
Standing face to face with perfection.
and it would be about your love of my body.
You are now tuned in to Big Nate Sports Talk, the show that's on all the time, anytime. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for all content. And now, ladies and gentlemen, your host, Nathan Snell. Bring your sports game with Big Nate Sports Talk.
How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? It is your host, Nathan Stella, Big Nate Sports Talk Podcast. I hope you all had a great staying dry, staying warm. April's almost here. March is almost at the end. This is episode 9, season 14 of Big Nate Sports Talk Podcast. Welcome. In this episode, we are previewing the number 1 South Carolina Lady Gamecocks versus the number 2 Maryland Lady Terrapins in the Elite 8 matchup. But before we get into that, there's a few things I would like to say up front. I will have to re-record my WNBA 2.0 mock draft. Saturday, Asia Blackwell plays for the University of Baylor. Ruined my plans, and she is staying another year at Baylor. I'm happy for her, which, again, I just want to tie this in really quick. I think it's very disingenuous that we have current WNBA ball players that are, I wouldn't say jealous. I wouldn't even say envious. I can't really put find the right words for it. But you have to understand that the WNBA is going to be fine without these young ladies who are staying another year. If somebody gave me an NIL offer and I had the choice and I had an extra year eligibility where I could get not 1, not 2, but potentially 3 degrees for free, I'm taking that. Like it's no secret to see how some other players have been vocal about how the league is and what needs to change. Yes, we are aware of it. They make it clear as day. From flights, fighting over hotel rooms, who's got to sleep at a hotel, who got to sleep at an airport. All these issues that are clearly beyond Kathy Engelbert. It starts with your owners, because there's no way in hell you got owners and that own teams and are broke. If that's the case, they need to sell it. But that's one that's subject for another video. I think we really, really have to stop making these young ladies feel bad because they see life other than basketball. And education, ladies and gentlemen, will get you further in life than dribbling a basketball or throwing a football or hitting a baseball. You get to go, and you're going to school for free. Who wouldn't take that opportunity? I know I would, but that's enough of that. And I'll talk more about that in a later video. You actually hear me talk. You're going to hear me talk about the WNBA mock draft, just so you know. Saturday, we faced number 2 Notre Dame, and what a beautiful game it was. It was a beautiful game. Got a haircut. I was actually watching the game at the barbershop. We are in the Elite Eight. The final score, ladies and gentlemen, was 76.
That's what I'm talking about. This shit means something to me, man.
Went to the Elite Eight was 2015, 8 years ago. And first and foremost, we really have to give this team its flowers and what it's done. I cannot stress this enough. To lose 85% of your roster, particularly your starting lineup, and in the fashion it happened a couple weeks after the loss to Stanford in the Sweet 16. You know, it started with actually Wusu. Then you had Taislana Kozlov, and she transferred. Shanice Lewis transferred. And then I thought the biggest surprise was Angel Reese. And then what felt like to me was an expose. It was a Washington Post article that kind of painted, to me, in my opinion, it painted Brenda as a bad person. Some of the things I think were said in there, I think was interpreted. Mimi Collins did not get into grad school. And that triggered those that were former Terps. Recently, Taylor Mike Sell to kind of go to Twitter and voice their frustration. And I get it, but I didn't like it at the same time. Yes, Ashley was dealing with the health scare that could have killed her. Was that handled properly? No, it was not. I think the way the article came out, it bothered me. And then to not only see that, but to and seeing articles questioning Brenda. Why can't she keep recruits at College Park? What's going on at the University of Maryland? And of transfers for freshmen. Maryland, a lot of other girls in the Big Ten, they've actually picked us 4th. See where we're at now, and to get to this point, it just speaks to everybody's brought in. One thing I will say about this team compared to last year's team, it's a we thing, not an individual thing. I felt like there was a lack of trust. I felt like everybody was not brought into the plan. I felt it looked like egos out there. That's just my personal opinion. I'm not taking shots at anybody. I'm not calling anybody out specifically, but that's what I saw from my point of view. And then to see, yes, at the beginning, Diamond Miller wasn't 100%. Lavender Briggs, who was a part of the roster last year but didn't play at all due to injury, and then this year working her way back. Didn't have them at the beginning of the year. You see the rise of Bree McDaniel, who's, in my opinion, is no longer a freshman. She's gained the trust of Brenda Freese and that coaching staff. I would love to see that for the other freshmen. I'm proclaiming I see that next year. But to see where this team has peaked, where this team is, and not only I'm looking at Brene Alexander, who's already one of the best three-point shooters in the nation. I'm looking at Abby Myers coming from Princeton. We know that Ivy League has some good ball players, and she came in and did thing. Emmett Miller, a game bucket, which got the attention of Kevin Durant and Stephen Curry. We beat them 74-72. The second half to me was key. This was a Notre Dame team that did not have. We talked about not having Olivia Miles for them, but let's not forget about Dara Mabry, who's also off for the season. I told you the key, everything was going to run through Sonia Cintron, and it did. She had 24 points in that first matchup against us. She scored 6 of those 13s in the game. We were aggressive. We have 31 points like she did in the first matchup. But for me, I thought, particularly in the first quarter, first half, starting the first quarter, I thought we did everything right. 12 of Notre Dame's 14 points came within the paint. We were out rebounded by 8 rebounds. To me, it really showed. Our speed and transition was going to be key winning the game, going up against Notre Dame size. Like already saw in the first quarter, Maryland forced them to the ball over 8 times. Then once Coach Ivory calmed everybody down, I told you she likes to put at times the offensive lineup and then the defensive lineup out there. They stuck to what their identity is: get the ball inside and slow the game down. That's their identity. And there were times where Maryland looked lackadaisical. That second quarter, arguably, from watching them this whole year, was completely disgusting. They had a 13-0 run, and they got 4 turnovers, and they got easy baskets. She had 6. Sonia Central had 6 points on that 13 points when they won that run, and I just think that we didn't get any type of response for offense. I told you that starting 5 is key. It goes as far as it can take this team, and didn't get a lot from Dot Miller in that first half. It did not. Our transition game looked off. We gave up a lot of second chance points to the Irish, Fighting Irish. We were down 8 when she called that timeout. She brought in Bree McDaniel, who brought a big spark of energy. Then you had Diamond Miller, Renee Alexander, starting to pick it up, and we closed the half. We were down 1, and the fact that we came right back out, we were aggressive. By what? We forced turnovers. We used our speed. We used the transition and our speed. When you, on the first 3 possessions for Notre Dame, those were all 3 turnovers. And then, unfortunately, we didn't capitalize on those 3 turnovers. Cheyenne Sellers, same thing in the third quarter. To me, found her rhythm. She had 7 of their 13 second half points. Then we were up 2. And then from there, that's when your stars. This is when your money's made. This is where your stock goes up. I mean, Diamond Miller took over the game. I mean, Notre Dame was in foul trouble with their bigs on the bench. The game kind of slipped away. Notre Dame had no answers for them in the second half. They, as a cohesive, turned the ball over 25 times. That's not winning you basketball games.
I can't defend that. What do you want me to say to that?
That you have to look at it from this perspective. You have to credit Maryland's defense, but I also too thought I would like to see Coach Ivory use a timeout to kind of regroup them, and I kind of felt like the game kind of just went away from them at that second half. They just there's no way to explain it. To me, defensively, I knew the game was truly over. You know, in the last 5 minutes of the third quarter, they didn't allow a field goal to happen. 2 points in the last 5 minutes. I mean, 5 steals, 3 blocks in the second half. That's immaculate defense. That was immaculate defense. We were up 12 going into the fourth quarter. We outscored them by 5 points. And the game was practically over by then. I mean, you really, really have to give Notre Dame some credit. Their size definitely gave us some trouble, but when we establish, I tell you, that press defense is some of the best defense I've ever seen. It definitely made them uncomfortable. You saw it. The decision making with passing the ball. We scored 16 points off their 15 in that second half, and they 16 points off their 15 turnovers. We outscored them. I think it was 45-27. And then I look at it, Shine Diamond Miller. They are your first and second option, other than Abby Myers. They took over the game. That's the stars to show up and shine the most. They had a combined practically a triple double, 30 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists. The two just combined. And the defense was hard on them. But again, to me, I need them in this game tonight against South Carolina. And I'm going to tell you why. Listen, South Carolina is one of the best programs in the nation. No disputing that. But understand this, ladies and gentlemen. The first time we saw South Carolina, Diamond Miller did not play. This is a Maryland team that was still figuring out what works best for them in terms of lineups. Remember, we're transitioning. We don't have an Angel Reese out there. We don't have an Ashley Wusu or Mimi Collins or a Chloe Bibby. We're working with transfers. Abby Myers, Brittany Alexander. You don't have Lavender Briggs at 100%. You're rolling with with your best lineup, what you have out there. A lot of people forget that. A lot of people also forget in that first matchup, we were down 6 at halftime. It didn't get out of hand until the fourth quarter. Abby Myers had 21 points in that game, if I remember correctly. But again, South Carolina, their size and their strength was just too flat out much for us. We lost that game. I will concede that. Aaliyah Boss had a double-double. We had 32 rebounds compared to their 55, if I remember that stat correctly.
I can't defend that. What do you want me to say to that?
And you really have to understand this team is a different team than what was the last time. I think this team is peaking at the right time. Listen, South Carolina, they've played some really interesting teams. They beat number 16 seed Norfolk State. Then they beat South Florida by 32 and 31 points respectively. And then just beating UCLA the other night in the Sweet. So statistically, when you look at they outscore their opponents, I think it's almost like by 30 points, which made us look it was a competition because we lost by 25, if I remember correctly, in that game. I got a stat for you. South Carolina starting 5, the 4 years they've been together, the core 5, I think have had 132 starts compared to our 4. That doesn't faze me. South Carolina, say what you want. Dawn Staley has built a program down there. Has been that is first in rebounding and blocks. We faced Arizona, Notre Dame, South Carolina. I don't see this as a David and Goliath matchup. I don't. Maryland found other ways to win against Arizona and Notre Dame by what? Utilizing speed and transition. That's what minimized the impact on those two games. South Carolina, I get it. Carmelo Cardarzo, Aaliyah Boston, two of the most, arguably two best post players in the league, the nation. Not disputing that. You're asking for us to really battle with them, and this current team right now, for 40 minutes, is going to grit and grind and give you everything they're going to. They're going to make. I don't see a blowout in this game. I don't. Yes, we're in their backyard. It's a home, practically a home game for them. I'm not fazed by that. I mean, the same thing. To me, this should mentally we should be ready for this because practically we've been in Greenville since Friday, so I'm not bothered by that. Mostly everybody will pick us. And if you look at this year's March, if you look at the brackets, a lot of upsets. I think this is the first time since 2009, maybe 2010, where the Sweet 16 didn't include all 4 number 1 seeds. Another stat I want to give you. We're 9-4. 5 wins against top 10 seeded teams. I think that happened, the year when we won the national championship. If we win this game, that'll be our 7th Final Four appearance. South Carolina's looking to get to Dallas, but so are we. Not fazed by that. You know what also gives you motivation? Because that head coach for LSU, Kim Mulkey, great coach, no beef, respect her. Practically in last night's presser said, it's going to be 2 SEC teams in the Final Four. Okay. If I'm Brenda, if I'm in Brene, Lav, Diamond, that would piss me off. That would motivate me to play better. Because what we're not going to do is sit here and act like Maryland doesn't have a chance to surprise some teams, because it has. A lot of people picked Notre Dame to beat Maryland. Didn't happen. Some picked Arizona. Didn't happen. We're not the same Maryland team during the beginning of the season, as I stated earlier. It's not happening this time. This team is ready. This team is peaking at the right time. Go out there and play basketball for 40 minutes. And one thing, one thing we can say this, whether you want to like it or not, Brenda Freeze is going to get her respect, whether people like that or not. Because to be in this moment, that's what a good coach does. That's what a good program, that's how a program remains successful. When you have players that are brought in and you trust one another. It's a we thing, not an individual thing. But with that being said, I'm going to give you 2 scores. Be realistic. South Carolina advances to the Final Four 73-69.
Guaranteed.
Maryland upsets the number 1 ranked South Carolina Gamecocks, and it goes to Dallas and faces Iowa in a Part 4 rematch. Maryland surprises South Carolina on a game-winning 3. 75-72.
Guaranteed.
I see that. To the sponsor of the podcast, being a Sports Talk podcast, and that is Zagnif Apparel. Do you want to dress like you're famous? Well, why don't you mosey on down, and check out Zagnif Apparel, where you can be famous. You can enjoy a nice 15% off discount code with my code, Big Nate. 15% off. Again, check out Zagnif Apparel, where you can dress like your famous. It is our sponsor of today's episode.
The following is a presentation of Zagnif Productions, LLC. Introducing Zagnif Apparel. Our Our comfortable line of leisure wear and athletic wear will have you comfortable and stylish at any occasion. Whether you're at the gym, out shopping, or just relaxing at home. Whether you're an athlete or just want to lay around the house, we've got the perfect outfit for you. Stop by our website today and pick up your favorite pieces. Zagnif Apparel. Dress like you're already famous.
Again, thank you to Zag Apparel for being a sponsor of Big Nate Sports Talk Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, again, you can enjoy a nice 15% off using my code BIGNATE. Go out and check Zagnif Apparel. Dress like you want to be famous. Some good merchandise. I actually need to go out there, go on the website and check to see what's available. Let's get into final message.
Incoming message.
Thoughts are running through my mind. Someone took some time to find a minute or two to organize them.
You know, I really would like to take this final message and give Brenda Fries her flowers. You know, if you asked me a year ago, where would this Maryland team be? I would give you the honest answer and say, I don't know. To see where we're at now and all the criticism that she's had to deal with, whether it be from fans, whether it be from social media or through former players that were a part of the team a couple years ago, to lose 85% of your starting five, yet one returning senior, a rising sophomore, and you're surrounded by practically new faces, and you're now in this position to get to Elite Eight. That speaks greatness. That speaks there's a trust there. And again, we can disagree. People have this. Some people differently, but whether this or not, Brenda Fries silent. Well, really, the Maryland Terrapins, silenced the critics. This team is brought in. It's a fact. And people have made it really clear to go, oh, what does that team look like? But now, what does that team look like now? Now that they're not anywhere last year. We know some of the personal stuff Coach Fries has gone through. To go to win your 19th consecutive game. See, 19 consecutive years you've won 20 or more games. And all the adversity as a team, they deserve their roses. The winningest coach of this program, beating Notre Dame, beating Arizona, beating Holy Cross, and to now get a rematch against South Carolina, and potentially going on to face that coach Lisa for Iowa and Dallas. That speaks to greatness to me. So whether people want to accept it or not, we're still here. And I'm happy that Brenda is in this moment. I'm happy for her. More importantly, I'm happy for the team, because when you see the awareness, and when you see everybody just trusting one another, and more importantly, there's a bond there. This team has, without a shadow of a doubt, defied what the legacy is for a Maryland Terrapin. And if people don't like that, oh well. But I'm proud of this. I am very proud of this team. But I want to enjoy this game. And I got to sit back and celebrate, because it felt great watching them win. And the fact that we're now in the Elite Eight. And most people can't say anything now. Greatness is in the air. But that's going to conclude the episode, ladies and gentlemen. Be tuned for future episodes. Please like, comment, subscribe. You will check out the other episodes. I'll have those recorded tonight. I have to painfully talk about the men's basketball team. Got to get that video out as well. But check out the other. Please like, comment, subscribe. Check out the other content if you're not already on the channel. You can catch episodes 10, 11, and 12, hopefully up by tomorrow, which is Tuesday. This episode is recorded. I'm going to have a talk with my producers about I think this is going to be the format going forward, just recording episodes. But until then, go Terps, because at the end of the day...
But they don't know, they don't know, they don't know. Nobody knows but us, how we roll, how we roll. Nobody knows what we got but us. Let them keep talking, let them believe that they know, 'cause they don't, no they don't, no they don't.
Thank you for tuning in to Big Nate Sports Talk. If you enjoyed that episode and you want to see more content, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Bring your sports game on Big Nate Sports Talk.
It's on all the time, anytime.
I want to thank you. I want to thank you, yeah. I want to thank you. Ooh. For all the times you put up with me. Thank you. And you helped me retain my sanity. Thank you. I want to thank you. And I want to thank you. All I want to do is say thank you for everything you do.